Imagine waking up and having to decide if you were going to spend your money on buying groceries or going to the doctors. Unfortunately, this is a reality for many across the world. The access to healthcare is one of the most important issues facing society today. Today, I will be discussing universal healthcare. To begin, what is universal healthcare? Universal healthcare is a system in which governments ensure all citizens of said country have access to medical systems regardless of income or employment. Some countries have universal healthcare, some do not. The United States is one that does not. If you look at the picture in the bottom left, it states that the United States is actually the only developed country to not have a universal healthcare system. The purpose of the speech is not to persuade, but to inform the pros and cons of a universal healthcare system with examples. To begin with the pros. Obviously, the biggest pro is going to be an improved access to care. No one has to worry about losing a healthcare system due to a loss of money. It would also reduce the number of uninsured people. In the US alone, we have 26 million people who are uninsured. There would be a better public health with a universal healthcare system. It is more focused on preventing, and we can look into COVID for that. For example, Canada had 35,000 deaths due to COVID, while the United States had 919,000 deaths. If you do the math correctly and you even out the populations, there is still a difference of 639,000 people. Looking into the intensive care units, the United States had 79 people per million, while Canada only had 32 people per million. Canada emphasizes on screening, vaccines, and preventing. This helped them in COVID. It leads to healthier communities, which provides a more productive community, which would lead to social and economic benefits. Now the economy. It would reduce medical bankruptcies. 66% of personal bankruptcies in the United States are medical related. It would also have a centralized system. This would reduce administrative costs, meaning less paperwork and fewer insurance companies to bill. The ethical side of things. Healthcare is often seen as a basic human right which everyone deserves. The World Health Organization, also known as the WHO, defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and asserts that the highest attainable standard of health is a fundamental human right for all. Now going on to the cons. The big one is a financial cost. The government would have to spend a lot of money on this. They would most likely get this money by raising taxes. If a universal healthcare system is not managed correctly, it can become very unstable. For example, the United Kingdom spends 12% of their nation's budget on healthcare alone. There is also a chance of a strain on healthcare systems due to increased demands. With more free visits comes along more visits in general. Non-emergency procedures may be delayed. For example, Canada reports that the average wait time for elective surgeries, this includes knee replacement, hernia, and cataract removal, can be 20 to 25 weeks. That is almost half a year. This would also slow down a government's efficiency. If the government has the main role, it would obviously be slower. Government involvement may also reduce innovation in medical technology or limit providers. There would also be a huge impact on private sectors. If a government plays the dominant role, private insurances will have fewer opportunities to compete. This would reduce market diversity and limit options for those who prefer private companies. Now onto the examples of the world. In Canada, they obviously have a universal healthcare system. They raise this money through taxes. However, the citizens see it as fair and accessible because, well, everybody has it. But Canada faces longer waits for certain procedures. United Kingdom, they have a free healthcare at point of service. Their citizens actually see it as a symbol of equality. They face a lot of staff shortages and funding pressures. Germany has a hybrid of the two, which means that they have both public and private options for healthcare. Most people pay into the public, but it balances universal access with market flexibility. Germany is proving that there's no single way to access universal health care. The United States is primarily private. We do have Medicaid and Medicare, but those only apply to a certain group of people. We do have rapid access to special care, but like I said, there's millions that are uninsured, and if you look at the bar graph at the bottom right, we clearly have the highest cost in the world, with Germany being second since they do have the hybrid, but with a primary private led insurance scene, it's obviously in a whole different world. The question of universal health care is very complex. It is tied to a country's values, economy, and priorities. Universal health care can improve access, promote preventative care, reduce financial problems, but can also present financial and administrative challenges to the government. It's not just about the economy or policy, it's about the values. If a country values fairness and equality, they will prioritize universal coverage. If a country values individual choice and market freedom, they would obviously not choose universal health care. As this debate continues, it is very important to understand both sides so that we are informed on choices to come. Thank you. And then the questions I have: how does different nations' healthcare support the debate of universal healthcare? Do the cons of universal healthcare outweigh the pros? And how does the variety of beliefs surrounding the importance that healthcare is a basic human right impact the decision?